This is Miami running back Damien Martinez.
He's my favorite running back sleeper in the draft, point blank, period. There just aren't too many guys who have his size, juke moves, and then also the scheme versatility that Martinez went through at Oregon State, under center, wide zone offense. I thought he was great at that. Transferred to Miami this last year, shotgun, gap, inside zone, downhill runs. He was great at that. 6 yards per carry in all 3 seasons, really high success rates. And I think a lot of what he's so good at, all of that stuff translates.
The tackles he breaks and the wins you see from him on contact typically happen for a normal running back, maybe, I don't know, a dozen times per year. For him, it's almost every other touch. He creates something outlandish when a defender is trying to tackle him. He loves to slow play behind the line of scrimmage, hop, and then make his decision. A lot of people are going to compare him to like Le'Veon Bell because of that patience, but I love to see that slow playing of the inside runs. And if that's clogged, then he actually still has the agility, despite his size, to jump cut to the outside to the
Yep.
free space and make something happen. And then, as we said, he's difficult to bring down to the tune that like nearly every other run has ended in like a 4 or 5 man pileup. It takes multiple guys to bring him down on a constant basis.
Yeah, it felt like he weighed in at like 217 pounds. You and I
Right.
were talking about this. It seems like he's actually playing at 225, 230, and that's kind of the bruiser mentality he has. But he does have the agility, like those jump cuts. There's some spin moves out in space, and I do think when he is slow playing, and you do see that in the gap system a little bit, and then he finally finds the hole and he hits it. I thought that his burst was actually pretty good there. You see that in the broad jump, 74th percentile, the 10-yard split, 61st percentile. The long speed too is about average too, which is pretty impressive for like a bruiser early down type that we're talking about here. And one of my favorite stats is he actually led college football in short yardage success rate on 3rd and 4th downs, according to Sports Info Solutions. And he did that in a system that he was not used to running behind. Like for 2 years, under center, outside zone, and then he goes into the complete opposite system. He's still having all the success. To me, there's like an instinct that you have in order to do that. And I think that Damien Martinez has it.
So there's no way to me that he was 217 pounds in week one when they faced off against the Florida Gators. He had to have been closer to 235. It kind of looked like Eddie Lacy out there, to be honest. And maybe some of what I was also seeing was the white jerseys, but also in a new scheme. But then I did some research on the numbers, and the numbers back up that I actually think he got in shape as the season went along. Because if you look from game one to game six, he was averaging just 4.4 yards per carry and had just 7 of his 67 runs that went for 10 plus yards. And if you look at the Louisville game, that's the one where the switch flipped and then all the way through the rest of the season. So it's basically half and half. In that Louisville game and on, he averaged 7.6 yards per carry. And then he had 18 of 94 runs go for 10 plus yards, which is
Yeah.
a 19.1% clip. That is ludicrous at his size.
Yeah, you see at the second level, like he could stiff arm linebackers. He is actually like spin moving guys, which you don't like always see. And you're not expecting a guy that's we think like is going to be closer to 230 than 217, actually spin moving guys. And he does have a little bit of burst in the second level. So I thought that his open field ability is just better than the typical bruiser type.
Yeah, I think that linebackers are absolutely surprised by his jump cuts to avoid them at the second level because he does set them up. It's someone who's in a very different mold, but I remember like Bucky Irving doing this last year where he pressed to the inside then cut outside or pressed the outside then cut inside.
Mhm.
And it forced these linebackers to act like they were going to fill a lane. And then it worked them into trash. So it created his own space. And he did that so well. And I think it goes back to his, years at Oregon State where he was asked to do that more and more and more under center and then carried that more into like this air raid
Mhm.
system that they had at Miami. I mean, maybe it's the number 6, Hayden, but I kept coming back to James Conner when watching him. Their running styles are so similar. Like it's
Yep.
almost an upright, but when you get into me, I'm going to use my arms or this mobility that I do have to throw you off. Like every tackle attempt was a little mini game for him, and he's the fastest button masher on the field to like get out of their grasp over and over and over again. So he's just a downright fun player to watch. I totally back up your
Yep.
statement that if he's not hovering around, I don't know, your top 5 or top 6 in running backs this year, then we have a different, definition and version of sleepers.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think this is going to be an early down guy. He can be a starting running back in the NFL. He's not a well-rounded running back in that his pass catching numbers are pretty lackluster. He's just numbers in general, 24th percentile in fantasy points per game this last season. But he's also really young. That was a committee approach and a very interesting offense down there at a Miami new system. And then I think going back to the Oregon State stuff, like his ability to cut back on these wide zone runs, it's really good stuff. Like it actually really reminded me of Caleb Johnson. We saw a totally different style back this last year. So my kind of middle comp for him is like Tyler Algier, who kind of has a little upright style too, a powerful bruiser, but a very good player. We talked about the Dame train on this podcast. My upside comp though, and I love this guy, so I don't say this lightly, is Josh Jacobs. Now Josh Jacobs is a little bit lower to the
Totally.
ground, but Josh Jacobs does everything well, and he doesn't like there's a lot of people that just don't understand what Josh Jacobs is bringing in the run game. And I think a lot of those traits apply to Damien Martinez. Big pain in the ass to tackle, but also just can run every single system at a high clip. And I think that he has a little bit more like on-field burst than what his like numbers would suggest. So Josh Jacobs isn't like ripping off 40-yard carries all the time, but usually really good at the success rate and could be a workhorse, especially on early downs.
Yeah, just to wrap up this profile of who he is as a player. Again, our eyes can lie. So even though I do think he opened the season maybe 235, he did check in at the NFL Combine at 6 foot 217. He just turned 21 years old in January. 4.51 40-yard dash with a 1.58 10-yard split, which is plenty fast enough at that size. Now his athletic profile is interesting to say the least. 11th percentile shuttle, 29th percentile three cone, then a 49th percentile vert, and a 77th percentile broad jump. So it really
Mhm.
spans the gamut of agilities, obviously the jumps. And if we look at just what the underlying metrics are with him, he was eighth best in yards per carry in this class at 6.3 yards, the second best yards after contact per attempt at 4.51 yards, and his
Ooh,
missed tackles forced per attempt was at 0.263. Uh, I love Cam Scattaboo. We already have a prospect profile on him on the channel if you haven't watched it yet. But if Scattaboo wasn't in this class, then I think this other Bash brother would be getting more and more love. Because
yep.
to me, it's rare to find these two types of hammers. This, we're going to bully you. We're going to become an identity, a face of your rushing attack by mauling
Mhm.
you. Again, not even every draft class has one of these, but having two of them, I think Scattaboo, because of how great Arizona State was this year, has overshadowed Damien Martinez just a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. I'm gonna have them ranked very similarly. I put them in the same tier as like the Quinton Judkins group as well. Like a lot of these guys that are getting like some round two buzz. I don't see Damian Martinez too dissimilarly than those types as well. So if he's fallen to the fourth round or something like that, and your team drafted and you're watching this video, like congrats to you, especially if you went like premium positions early, and then Damian Martinez all of a sudden going to be your starting running back on early downs. Like I think like that is a very very good draft plan.
And you talked about how Miami split their backfield. He didn't have a single game this past season of over 16 carries. So there's a lot of tread still left on his tires when it
Yep.
comes to that. I actually think that his receiving chops were pretty good. Anytime there was a bit of a high catch, it looked like there was a bit of an uncomfortableness to his game. I do want to bring up some negatives because it's not a perfect profile, though. Like to me, with this style of a runner, if you lose a step or you just stop breaking as many tackles because you are injured, then this style of back, I think, will suffer, you know?
Yes.
And then, just like we talked about with Scattaboo, to me, he doesn't deliver the same pop and pass protection. Like the USF game, he got run over, same as in Syracuse. On delayed linebacker blitzes, he gets jolted back. He lost on the edge versus Virginia Tech in an inside move. So, despite these guys, again, I'm going to coin them the Bash Bros, like we're in D2 Mighty Ducks. They don't deliver the same type of pop and power as they do as runners and as pass
Mhm.
catchers. And they need to do that in pass protection, I feel like.
He stole my notes. His pass protection, total mess. And I said that that was
Yes.
very disappointing. And it's in every single way too. Like I was just shocked that he could not just sit there and anchor. That he was just getting like completely run over. And then I thought his
Yeah.
awareness and stuff. it was a mess. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why he was in a committee. And also, he's only caught 10 catches per season. And a couple of the seasons at Oregon State, they didn't throw the ball to him at all. When he is catching passes, it's the most basic routes. Like anything that's going to be happening on 3rd and 7s and stuff is a complete projection. We'll see if he can do that. But for right now, clear negative. But also, that happens to a lot of 20-year-old running backs as well. So hopefully, with some development there. But I think where he's expected to go, which is like somewhere
Oh,
around round
totally.
4, like if he's a half the touches in your running back room go to him, and then you have another specialist. Like to me, it's going to be totally okay if that is his true weakness.
Yeah, and I think he had 3 1-yard and 2-yard touchdown runs against USF. Like, at the very least, in the low red zone, this guy's gonna be a weapon for you
Yes.
early on in his career. All right, that does it. This is an awesome running back group. So if you haven't gone and watched
Yep.
all of our prospect profiles, what are you doing? Go do it right now. Hit that subscribe button if you're new around here. Leave a thumbs up, and we'll catch you on the next